New Orleans, Louisiana. Its people, its culture, its cuisine are all unique.
6 for 12, dozen and a half dozen.
But there's a dark side to being one of a kind, a prevalence of heart disease.
I was 28 when I had my first heart attack.
Diabetes.
I've had a toe amputated.
Childhood obesity.
I would like to lose up to 70 pounds.
And a genetic disorder so rare, few people know it by name.
As the French say, or the Cajuns say, il est affligé, crippled.
In a city known for close-knit family, there is another legacy.
Everybody that in our family that has passed away has died from a heart attack.
The curse of heredity.
Okay, girls, we're gonna start off with plies, demi, and grand. We're gonna go 4 counts down and 4 counts up and down. 2, 3, 4, and up.
12-year-old Macy Miller has been dancing for 8 years.
Ready, and step back, side, front.
But she was never this light on her feet.
Step back, side, front.
It was really high. I was breathing heavier than what I do now.
Step.
Or this playful during class.
I had less energy than what I had now.
Keep those feet tight, tight, tight.
And she never felt this comfortable in her leotard.
Good job.
They didn't fit me the way I wanted them to fit me.
1, 2.
Only 8 months ago, Macy was considered borderline clinically obese.
Macy always had to be in stretch pants and long shirts because we could never find jeans to fit her.
Stretch forward.
And here, obesity is commonplace.
The prevalence of adult obesity in Louisiana is one of the highest in the country. Childhood obesity, we believe, is higher.
How high? The national average for obesity in the country is between 11 and 17%. Kids in New Orleans have it much worse.
African American children have an obesity prevalence between 33 and 45%. With 6-year-olds, the prevalence of obesity was 43%.
In this city, food and genetics play a big role.
You have some predisposed children, their parents have obesity, their grandparents have obesity, they're not getting enough physical activity, they're eating large amounts of food and not getting proper nutrients, and they're becoming obese earlier. And that in itself is a deterrent to becoming a lean adult.
That was the first day of 4th grade last year, and that was before I started the diet, and I weighed 124 pounds.
Over a 2-year period, Macy gained 40 pounds. Finally, her pediatrician suggested a revolutionary new program that was helping kids in New Orleans win the war against obesity.
The only program that I know of that has been 100% successful, or at least close to 100% successful in keeping, not only getting the weight off, but keeping it off, is the program Committed to Kids.
Okay, has everybody weighed in?
Committed to Kids is run by the Department of Pediatrics at Louisiana State University.
Hey, whatever it takes. Keep boys, whatever. Just keep walking, don't stop.
It attacks childhood obesity from many angles.
Okay, I'll meet y'all down there. We provide nutrition, exercise, and psychological support for the children and their families as they learn how to deal with their weight problems.
We also started a new school this year.
The one aspect that makes this program truly unique is mandatory parental participation.
Let's move on next.
Without it, the program won't work.
The parents, of course, have to be involved. They have to come with the kids to all of the intake, the sessions that we have every week.
I'm making fruit dip.
Now the entire Miller family is committed to Macy's program.
Watch out, I'll put some on your plate for you.
After school, healthy snacks replace junk food.
This little snack I'm making is it's actually a fruit dip from the program. It's fat-free cream cheese. I'm on now.
And nighttime is devoted to exercise.
You know, if she's doing crunches at night, I'll do crunches with her. If she's doing sit-ups, I'll do sit-ups. Just to give her some moral support that, look, you know, I'm 36 years old, but I can still do this too. 50.
3 months into her new lifestyle, the results are already showing.
20, slow down.
I lost 26 pounds overall, but I grew 2 inches, so I can think of it as losing 36 pounds.
But she's not finished yet. Macy still has a lot to learn, so she doesn't revert to her old ways. Meanwhile, 12-year-old Belynn Wright is about to begin a year that could well change her life and her genetic predisposition to obesity.
Come on in.
How you doing?
Hello, hey Belynn.
Twice a day for the past 21 years, 61-year-old Yvonne Coleman has gone through a special ritual. She checks her blood sugar
That's pretty good.
and injects herself with insulin.
Right in that fatty part.
Yvonne is part of a huge U.S. population affected with diabetes.
Type 2 diabetes affects 90% of the individuals, and there are 16 million in the United States who have diabetes.
In Louisiana alone, diabetics number about 365,000, and in Yvonne's tiny parish, it's a killer.
It is the third leading cause of death.
Left untreated, diabetes, a chronic disease which affects glucose and insulin levels, can lead to serious health problems. Damage to the heart, kidneys, eyes, and in Yvonne's case, the feet. Over 4 months ago, she discovered a tiny black spot on the sole of her foot.
And you wouldn't believe that I had stepped on a needle. The needle went inside and closed over. And when they went to dig it was a needle.
It's called diabetic neuropathy, a type of nerve damage which causes diminished feeling in the feet. As evident in these graphic medical pictures, the results can be dramatic. Cuts, scratches, breaks in the skin, and even breaks in bones, which go unnoticed. Eventually, neuropathy can lead to ulcers, severe infections, and even amputation or death.
If you take a population of people with diabetes, as many as 70 or 80% can develop neuropathy. 15% of people with diabetes will develop a severe foot problem, and 1% will have an amputation every year.
Although she became diabetic later in life, Yvonne is no stranger to this hereditary disease.
My whole family is people that have diabetes. My mother and all my sisters and brothers except for 2. And she had 9 children.
Yvonne's nerve damage has already left her with severe foot problems. The needle caused an ulcer on her left foot that won't heal. She also lost a toe to ill-fitting shoes.
It was a hammer toe. And that hammer toe was pressing down under my foot. It was like a callus.
But Yvonne considers herself one of the lucky ones. Just 6 miles from her home is a special satellite clinic devoted to promoting diabetic foot care.
Hello.
And preventing amputations.
Best time to file your nails with an emery board is after your bath when the toenails are still kind of soft. If you can feel this, we know that you have what's called protected sensation, and that's important. It means that if you had a thumbtack in your shoe, you would know it. You would feel that.
Several ulcers.
The doctors in charge of the program have offices in Baton Rouge, 1 hour from Lollacamp. But that doesn't stop Yvonne from getting regular checkups.
Hello, Mrs. Coleman.
Hello?
Thanks to leading-edge technology.
Myra, you going to tell us about Miss Coleman?
Grandma, go blow it out.
Lord, we'll have a heart attack here for sure.
Go. Blow.
Wilda Dunaway is 68 years old today,
For the birthday girl.
Here, Mama, here's your cake.
Thank
Now,
you.
don't eat
and her large extended family is celebrating.
Low fat, low cholesterol.
Every birthday is a major milestone for Wilda.
They've been into my heart 35 times, 3 heart surgeries, and the rest stents, balloon dilatations, and angiograms.
Happy birthday, Grandma.
Wilda's heart problems are part of her heredity. She inherited them from her parents.
I've lost a sister and 2 brothers and my parents.
Wilda's husband, Ira, suffered 2 heart attacks. He, too, inherited his problems.
I have 4 brothers, all 4 of my brothers, Ovid, TC, Lynn Ray, and Bill all died of heart trouble.
Wilda and Ira have 4 children. Lynn,
I had my first heart attack when I was 29.
Rob,
I was 28 when I had my first heart attack.
Danny, who is healthy but mindful,
I had to have a cardiologist on standby when I delivered my last child.
And then a collar that went right around to my carotids.
and the baby, Tim, whose biggest concern right now is his cholesterol. But for this family, it's a huge warning sign.
Who else wants a please?
Even Rob's daughter, Chandra, 24 and pregnant, cannot escape this tragic birthright.
I've had high blood pressure since I was 9 years old.
That's why in 1972, this town and its people became a model community to study heart disease.
The hypothesis is to try to learn how the adult heart diseases begin in childhood. These are hardening of the arteries, atherosclerosis, coronary artery disease, hypertension, diabetes, obesity. All of these we learn begin in childhood. That really is now the message of the Bogalusa Heart Study.
The Bogalusa Heart Study is still ongoing, making it the longest-running longitudinal study in the world. Even now, Tim goes in for a yearly screening. Coming up, he's about to find out if his chances of having a heart attack are increasing.
Tim Dunaway.
All tokens begin in the center of the board.
It's Saturday night at Joan Daigle's house.
Yeah, baby needs a new pair of shoes.
An ordinary evening with an extraordinary family.
Might as well give me yours, too.
3 of them have a crippling genetic disease.
Figure anything.
2 are carriers, and 1 might fall into either category.
I would trip, I would fall, sprain my ankle, bruise my foot, break my toe, and this happened over and over again for about a year.
This rare disorder is called Friedreich's ataxia,
Shake that up and put some in.
and it's unique to certain Louisianians.
All right, put them in.
How many drops?
2.
Friedreich's is a disease of the central nervous system that sneaks up on its victims in early adolescence.
I can remember having symptoms in high school. My gait was really staggering. I just felt like this is something that runs in my family. It just means we're real clumsy.
10 years ago, at the age of 22, Joan was diagnosed with ataxia. It changed her life dramatically.
I had to plan out my route. Like if I was going to get up and go to the bathroom, I'd have to say, okay, I can hold on to the arm of the sofa, then I can go to the doorway, then the wall in the hallway.
They're gonna wonder how you got
Joan's parents refused to believe there was anything wrong with their daughter.
to handle everything, but I mean,
But they'd heard the stories about people who had trouble walking and talking.
We didn't have a name for Friedreich's ataxia at the time, but there were, in my father's family, several of the cousins that had the odd movements and the falls and the speech defects and so forth.
Joan's family are Acadians, or Cajuns, perhaps the most storied and colorful of all the subcultures in Louisiana. They are also the most susceptible to Friedreich's ataxia, due in part to the high rate of intermarrying in Cajun families. Only 1 in 50,000 Americans carry the 2 defective genes which cause the disease. But among Acadians,
I feel lucky.
1 in 20,000 carry them, meaning they are 2.5 times as likely to get Friedreich's. Joan's older sister has it.
Move these out your way so you can roll.
So does her younger brother. In fact, it's so prevalent in the Louisiana Cajun community of nearly 1 million that everyone is somehow affected by it, even Joan's doctor.
I'm in fact a carrier. My sister has Friedreich's ataxia.
Friedreich's is often misdiagnosed as multiple sclerosis, another disease of the central nervous system. Like MS, most patients end up in wheelchairs and with slurred speech within 10 years of onset. but some people can die of Friedreich's. The muscle that pumps blood to the heart thickens, weakening the organ and causing a heart attack. Joan has 4 children.
All 4 of my children know that since I have Friedreich's, they will all be carriers.
You have an appointment today?
I need to see Dr. Shirley.
And today, she's going to arrange to have them genetically tested for the disease.
Yeah, like a year. The main reason I want my children to be tested for Friedreich's is because if we were to wait until any of them would exhibit symptoms, then it might be, we might not be able to help them as much.
Hey guys, how y'all doing? Have you started falling? Have you noticed that you're hurting yourself, banging?
It's a decision that carries ethical and moral ramifications.
Sometimes I bump into things that I can't really see.
Because there is no known cure, not even a treatment.
Doing sports, you active?
This is a machine here called a DEXA.
At the Committed to Kids program in New Orleans,
See the little camera here? It's going to go back and forth, and it's going to take pictures of you. Perfect, right there.
Belinda Wright is about to start a diet.
It's going to help me to decide how much weight you need to lose.
The best part is it doesn't hurt.
Yeah, it does not hurt.
But not until she goes through a battery of tests.
Get the machine started here in a minute.
The dual-energy X-ray absorptiometry machine uses very low radiation to measure the weight of her bones and estimate the lean and fat tissue with very high accuracy.
All right, now relax. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to hook it here.
A treadmill test determines how much oxygen she takes in during various stages of exercises.
She's at 0.5 mets, which is really slow. 0.13 is her carbon dioxide. Oxygen is at 13.3.
All this technology is needed to figure out why this 12-year-old weighs over 220 pounds.
Okay, so we were going to get a little bit faster.
And how much of that weight is fat.
According to her height and weight, she has a severe obese condition. Thumbs down. Hold on to the handles. Her percent fat is 49.8%. You need to stop? You too fatigued? Okay, so half of her body is fat.
Does it tell how many calories I burn?
Belinda is the newest member of Committed to Kids,
I would like to lose up to 70 pounds.
Everybody sit in your chair.
a special multidisciplinary weight management program designed to understand and combat child obesity.
When they come to our center, bend forward. It's our job to provide them with a nurturing, positive environment where they can learn nutrition and physical activity.
Committed to Kids is changing the lives of these children, like Macy Miller, who has been in the program for 9 months and once tipped the scales at 127 pounds.
Macy lost 1.5 pounds. Altogether, we've lost 25.6 pounds.
Most of the kids are able to lose about 30% of their weight within about a 1-year period and maintain the weight. Okay? We're warming the body up.
Exercise physiologist Melinda Southern runs the program.
Side to side.
And what's the fat gram rule?
Dietitian Heidi Schumacher counsels the children on nutrition.
About 800 calories and 75 grams of fat in a cup of regular whipping cream.
Miss Kenneth, how you doing?
Pediatrician Lauren Carlisle monitors the children's weight and health.
Good job. Keep it up.
Tell me about craving and being hungry. How do you know the difference?
And clinical psychiatrist Doug Walker oversees the group discussions.
My role is pretty much kind of the mortar between the bricks being the exercise and the nutrition aspects. I kind of support the behavioral changes in both those areas.
You're full, but like you still want it, but you're still full. So.
That's right. So it's good that you know the difference.
Yes.
Yeah.
The kids in the program, ranging in age from 5 to 17, have committed a year of their lives to changing their eating habits.
You can't intervene in a child who's overweight, give them a 10-week program, and then expect 5 years later to visit them and they've kept the weight off.
What can I do to get them to eat more vegetables?
And their families make the same commitment. This program stresses parental involvement.
I knew the ridicule and the pain that I went through
growing up overweight and being teased, and then my daughter was slowly gaining the weight, and I wanted to try to do what I can to, I guess, prevent her from going through what I went through.
This works the hamstring.
The cost of the program is $200 a month. This includes initial medical and physiological testing and 2-hour weekly sessions of nutritional counseling, exercise, and peer group therapy.
They get about $11,000 worth of care for about $2,000 a year.
Kenny, 5.4.
And it's a small price to pay, because many of the parents here believe that what their children learn today will likely affect them for the rest of their lives.
What is your name?
Tim Dunaway.
Tim Dunaway is 42, fit, and except for a battered face from a recent boating accident, looks like he's in perfect health.
You ready for this?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. Good deal. You bring a good one today?
But Tim is about to start an all-day series of tests, which will help determine how he must live, if he wants to live.
Are we going to have any left?
Oh, yes.
We're going to be measuring the stiffness of your arteries today. We're going to measure your carotid, your femoral.
Just lay down. Head up there.
In 1973, Tim became a part of the Bogalusa Heart Study, an unprecedented long-term analysis of generational heart problems.
This slips around your neck.
They took basically the two worst families that they could find in the area, and they did a genetic study.
Those two families were the Dunaways and the Carters, Wilda's people. And in the 25 years of the study, most of what the world knows about heart disease was learned because of local families like these. In 1973, Tim was a 15-year-old with a cholesterol level of 225, high for a teenager. And 3 years ago, an angiogram showed he already had early stages of heart disease. In Bogalusa, there's a good reason for that. Food.
A lot of fried food, a lot of seafood, shrimp's high in cholesterol.
You started when you was in the first grade.
No.
And family.
Everybody that in our family that has passed away has died from a heart attack.
Now, each year, Tim checks in with the program to check out his health.
In that last study that they did, they noticed that I did have some cholesterol that was a little higher than it should be.
Today's test will take the better part of the day. First, his blood pressure is checked 13 different times by 5 different machines. Dr. Gerald Berenson, who pioneered the study 29 years ago, says multiple blood pressure readings provide more reliable data for the study.
Has a sensor for the femoral artery, and we can measure ankle brachial ratio. We can measure pulse wave velocity and get an idea about stiffness of the blood vessels.
It's called pinch an inch. It's anthro.
Tim's body fat is studied inch by inch.
This is measuring the tricep skin fold. The waist-hip measurement has become popular for looking at central obesity.
Can you measure it again?
Tim also gets an electrocardiogram. So far, all the tests add up to one thing. From the outside, it looks like Tim's heart is working just fine.
Right in here, sir.
But they have yet to look at the inside. That's still ahead.
Hello, Mrs. Coleman.
Hello?
4.5 months ago, diabetes patient Yvonne Coleman developed an ulcer on her foot. Today, she's having it examined in Independence, Louisiana.
Can you hear us okay?
Yeah, doing fine.
But her doctors
Dr. Patus, Dr. Burke.
are over an hour away in Baton Rouge.
Okay, and Myra, you going to tell us about Ms. Coleman?
Sure. Ms. Coleman came to see me 1 week ago, and she came in being...
So with the help of registered nurse Myra Varnado...
Is that a bony prominence or is that soft tissue swelling?
Soft tissue.
And some high-tech camera equipment...
So the wound looks like it's granulated.
Yvonne Coleman can get diagnosed and treated via telemedicine.
It doesn't look nearly as deep as your measurements of last week.
Without this program, Yvonne Coleman might be in grave danger, Treatment of diabetic neuropathy is a medical specialty, but in Lollacamp, there are no specialists.
How did you find that worked? Did it help?
Telemedicine is a means of providing access for rural patients to health care that would otherwise not be available to them in the faraway cities.
During Yvonne's telemedicine exam, the doctors in Baton Rouge are able to access 3 different cameras in the clinic, one using remote control.
They can meet my patient, and then they can zoom in very close by to see her foot. I have a couple of other cameras that I use.
There's a close-up camera
As close as like 3 inches away.
and a special camera to view X-rays.
It's a document camera, essentially, and so we use that for X-rays.
The base of that toe was actually huge between the 2 toes. It was crowding it.
For over 4 months, Yvonne's foot ulcer wouldn't heal. Now, with regular care and treatment at the clinic, along with a special wrap designed to keep pressure off the ulcer, it's already improving after 1 week.
The ulcer looks like it's improved a lot.
It was like 0.7 centimeters deep last week, and I would tell you this week it's less, it's 0.1.
Yeah, it's real good.
It's really fast.
Once the exam is complete, the Baton Rouge doctors prescribe a treatment to make sure Yvonne's wound heals completely.
I'm about to debride this callus that is surrounding the wound. She has very mild callus, and I need to debride that.
Ready? Methodist Episcopal.
Methodist statistic. Methodist.
Episcopal.
Methodist. Jeez.
The Daigle children, 12-year-old Sean, 10-year-old Shane, and 9-year-old Sydney, might be following in their mother's footsteps.
Well, the last time it's been about a year since I really walked.
She has a degenerative disorder called Friedreich's ataxia.
Are you doing sports? You active?
Cajuns, like the Daigles, are 2.5 times more likely to carry the gene that causes it.
Good. People just tend to think of it as a clumsiness sort of issue.
Methodist Episcopal.
But what's really going on is it's a degeneration of the nervous system, and it's affecting a myriad of places in the nervous system.
Joan Daigle has had the disorder for 10 years.
The last time I flipped one over.
Which doctors say is the time it takes for Friedreich's to progress to its most advanced stage.
Used to be she could balance a little bit if I held onto her arm.
Now, at 32,
was put on
her speech is sometimes slurred, and she can't stand up without falling over.
It's this vicious cycle of clumsiness. It's progressing. It starts to affect a lot of different things, but the most common thing is gait, walking. Let's check your reflexes, okay?
Before undergoing blood tests,
you got good reflexes. Walk on your heels.
Joan's children are first tested for obvious symptoms.
Pull, you ready? Pull, pull. What has bothered you, Sean? Have you noticed any problems?
Ringing in my ears, a bit of some headaches.
Dr. Mark Charlet, a neurologist in Joan's hometown of Houma, does a battery of reflex testing on the arms, knees, and ankles. He's carefully watching how the joints react.
Here we go. Ooh, it tickles. With Friedreich's, we're looking for dysmetria. Let me see you get up and walk. The inability to perform smooth movements, dysmetria of eye movements, dysmetria of purposeful movements of the limbs. You ready? Hop.
Hopping puts intentional stress on Sydney's gait. Most Friedreich's patients can't hop.
Very good. Do like this for me. Hold up your arms straight out in front of you.
But the most revealing coordination test is done last.
One of the main things we're looking for is the ability to do things with your eyes closed. Take this finger and touch your nose.
When Friedreich's patients close their eyes, they are incapable of locating their limbs.
Sit right here. You can open your eye.
The information that goes to the part of the brain which oversees coordination is scrambled or lost altogether. Joan has significant difficulty with these simple tests.
Take that finger and touch your nose. Okay.
That was close.
That was pretty good, actually.
But Sean has no problem.
This one, touch your nose. Good.
For the boys, the initial diagnosis is hopeful.
I'm pretty comfortable that Sean and Shane have reflexes. They seem to be doing pretty well. But don't smile.
But Dr. Charlet is not sure about Sydney.
Sydney of the three would be my potential worry. I wasn't able to get really good reflexes in her arms. Smile. Very good.
Was diagnosed at age 10 with juvenile diabetes.
Twice a week, 42-year-old Deborah Kitchens travels 3.5 hours from her home in Laurel, Mississippi, to Baton Rouge to see her foot care specialist. Juvenile diabetes, also known as type 1, occurs in only about 10% of the diabetes population, and it requires constant management.
You stay in bed all day with your blood sugar 600 and 700. You can't get out of bed because the blood pressure is low. You stand up and you feel like you're going to pass out.
So she wears a special pump to get the insulin she needs 24 hours a day.
And this little tubing here is actually connected into me. There's a little port that goes in the stomach. So you can see these beautiful feet that I have.
Then there's the neuropathy.
We're going to check temperature because with a patient that's lost sensation, they don't get the normal pain feedback. So if this foot is being injured, she really doesn't know it. You want to be careful never to walk barefoot.
Deborah's lack of sensation was so severe that earlier in the year, what her Mississippi doctor said was a swollen foot turned out to be far more serious. Something these doctors call a Charcot fracture.
It's showing more of a clean break through the bone.
And it's been broken since last August, and it has not healed yet.
And Deborah never felt a thing. As a diabetic, it took 23 weeks to heal.
This is the bottom of the foot, where you have a little bit of a deformity on the bottom, and that's why you're going to need to stay in the special foot.
But now the neuropathy has created another problem, a new wound.
We fit her with a healing shoe, which offloaded the pressure from that great toe ulcer.
Footwear for diabetics is limited to these kinds of bulky canvas sandals. But here at the Diabetes Foot Program, doctors have enlisted the help of a specialist who designs shoes specifically for diabetics.
What we're going to do today is an ultrasound of your heart. It's called an echocardiogram.
Tim Dunaway is helping science and himself.
This is the inside of your heart.
By contributing for the 29th year in a row to the Bogalusa Heart Study. When it comes to heart disease, Tim is high risk. It runs in his family, and
being a white man makes him more prone to disease. Being a man makes him more prone. What we're interested in is looking for chamber enlargement, and we're looking for a thickening of the septum or the wall of the heart that relates to high blood pressure.
The echocardiogram shows a healthy heart. Now, all that's left is to ship Tim's blood off to New Orleans for a cholesterol check. The test results that come back will let Tim know if he can expect heredity to change the course of his life.
Box ready?
It's ready to go.
All right, I'll see you next week. Overall, let's see, what is that? 47 pounds. So, doing okay.
In Louisiana, childhood obesity is epidemic. By some accounts, the rate is 3 times higher than the national average. That's why the Committed to Kids program was created.
5.4 pounds, 5.5 pounds. Good job. So that's 11 pounds overall.
Every Tuesday, these 20 kids get weighed and congratulated.
3.7 pounds. Excellent, good job.
There are no failures. Belinda Wright is a newcomer who's learning to appreciate the little triumphs.
Okay. Not that big of a loss.
Yes, it's a loss. That's what matters.
Macy Miller is an 8-month veteran who is learning to maintain her goal weight.
My name's Macy and I lost 1.5 pounds this week.
We do not focus on the negative. These kids and parents are beaten up enough outside of a clinic.
At every session, the kids continue to learn about nutrition, but in a way specifically geared to children.
Okay, what's the fat gram rule?
So tell me if this is okay. How many grams of fat?
I think you need to make it fun.
So let's eat.
To really educate children, you have to make it entertaining.
Okay, dear. Pick out a veggie.
We use real food, we do cooking sessions, we play games with food.
Then students play teacher and give each food a grade.
Hey, we have a B+ for the yellow pepper.
And A-.
Woo! A-, yay!
During class, the kids also make new commitments to themselves.
What might you do for yourself next week? Do you have any specific goals for next week?
I'm gonna try to increase my crunch number to 200 crunches.
Okay, all right, congratulations.
They keep a list of their commitments in their goal book, a diary of sorts, which also has a record of their weight loss and other accomplishments.
We don't only look at weight gain or loss, we look at the goals they set for themselves, whether they met those goals, and also other accomplishments in their lives, be it school performance or sports or something else in their life.
54.1.
Our ultimate goal is not to keep children on diets forever. It is to give them the knowledge, the skills that they can go out and not have to be on a diet.
If you keep doing this, after a while you'll feel the biceps warm up.
Exercise, too, is tailored to the overweight children.
We're warming up some muscles. Which one are we warming up?
Don't expect children to be able to do adult-driven exercises.
Shoulders, A+.
Their exercise tolerance is affected differently. If they're overweight, they can't exercise as much as children who are not overweight.
Each week, the children spend 30 minutes doing some form of exercise. Sometimes it's strength training. Sometimes it's a dance class. Sometimes it's sprinting on a treadmill.
I'm gonna pass out.
The exercise needs to be fun. It needs to be something that they can do, kind of start, stop. It can't be continuous. That challenges their metabolism, which is immature and can't handle that long-term exercise.
Well, mine is pounding.
The hope is that exercising now will help these children grow into active adults.
15.
But at the next weigh-in,
15.
Boleyn will find out if the effort is starting to make a difference.
I finally got your sandal.
Yes.
The initial wrapping stage will be today.
At the Baton Rouge Diabetes Foot Care Program,
Let's take that shoe off.
diabetic Deborah Kitchens is getting fitted for brand new shoes.
Okay, we'll place this under your foot as we did before.
These are probably the most carefully made shoes in the world, and for someone with diabetes-related nerve damage, they can mean the difference between healthy feet and amputation.
Wearing the same shoe day in and day out, they don't get to breathe like they need to, or the relief from one shoe to another.
Sally Lawrence specializes in designing special footwear to relieve pain and pressure.
This is the Gucci.
2 weeks ago, Sally made an impression of Deborah's feet. Today, he'll actually make the shoe. He begins by heating the outer sole.
Just press it into it. Make sure that the sides are all glued. Then I cut the outer sole. From here we go to the grinding machine. Sand this off here. Okay, from here I'll attach the back strap. Up. Voila. Secure it. And that's the finished product.
Feels good, looks good too.
The shoe must evenly distribute Deborah's weight, and it must have special cushioning devices if her existing wounds are to heal.
Oh, it feels good.
The cost? $100 a pair.
You did a good job.
Thanks.
In New Orleans, the lab director for the Bogalusa Heart Study, Dr. Ji Hua Zhu, is performing some tests on the most recent submissions from the participants.
I have one tube in my hand, that's Mr. Tim Dunaway's blood.
20 minutes from Bogalusa.
These are calves from last year.
The study's founder, Dr. Gerald Berenson, is working on another heart-related experiment. He's breeding prescription cattle.
The goal is to try to get good nutrition for people. We're a purebred breeder, and we breed for lean meat quality.
This cattle, a mixture of Shardhorn, Hereford, and Brahma, keep lean by grazing only on grass.
This is called coastal Bermuda. It was developed in an agricultural station in Georgia, but it's an excellent crop all through southeast United States. There's some variety.
Nowadays, Dr. Berenson spends most of his free time raising lean meat on his farm in Mississippi.
At least a certain amount of lean beef can be healthy in the diet because it has things like iron, zinc, it has absorbable iron, zinc, B12, which may be missing in some of the, like chicken or even pork.
In an effort to circumvent a genetic predisposition to heart disease, Tim Dunaway recently made a conscientious effort to change his diet. Primarily, less fried foods and less beef.
Let's check my hoop net. Let's see what kind of fish I might have caught overnight. All right, we got some white perch here. That's a good meal.
And it's paid off. Dr. Sue examines Tim's latest cholesterol test.
His total cholesterol level is 183. 199 is the upper limit, so he's perfectly fine.
Besides eating more chicken and fish, Tim takes cholesterol medicine every day.
My cholesterol levels, since I've been taking Lipitor, are so good that I can fudge on my diet somewhat, and it makes my life a little more pleasurable to live in Louisiana.
Tim believes he can break hereditary heart disease, and to ensure that, he plans to continue in the study for the rest of his life.
Maybe if I ever have children, I feel like that I've done everything humanly possible to stop it with me.
The rate of diabetes in Louisiana is twice the national average. As a result, some 2,100 limbs are amputated every year, adding to a cost of $2 billion, a statistic Baton Rouge doctors Charles Patou and Jim Burke are trying to eradicate with the help of telemedicine and lessons in prevention.
The first 200 patients we saw, we prevented more than 80% of the amputations in our patients.
Yvonne Coleman is a diabetic who found out about this special foot care clinic just in time.
Ms. Coleman came to see me 1 week ago.
Having treatment for a left plantar ulcer that was not being effective.
Myra Varnado already treated Yvonne for a foot ulcer, and the wound is finally healing. Today, under the long-distance guidance of doctors Patou and Burke, Myra is treating a callus on Yvonne's right foot.
We can protect that toe
with a crest pad, Myra.
I'm ready. I've got it.
You gotta trim that callus back a little bit?
I am.
This simple procedure can, in fact, be very dangerous for a diabetic.
And if you trim too closely there, you'll get bleeding.
With the callus trimmed and a special pad to keep pressure off the wound,
Think that'll work?
Yvonne is sent home to heal.
Okay, it might be too thick.
But the next time she sees these doctors, it will be face to face.
I will.
We'd like them to come to Baton Rouge to see us 3 or 4 weeks from now.
Sure. I can.
Telemedicine, while useful, will never replace a one-on-one meeting with a doctor.
I think that would be a very dangerous thing for us to ever consider. Telemedicine is another way of extending access, and that's where I think it will have its greatest impact. Does this toe look much like the toe that you had amputated?
Yes, exactly.
For Yvonne, the value of having a clinic devoted to the needs of diabetics, along with access to telemedicine, is life-changing.
Well, my mind is healed, for one thing. I feel that I'm farther away from amputation than I was before I came here.
Okay, good luck to you now, Ms. Coleman. You're doing real well.
See you soon.
Great. Thanks a lot.
5 years ago, researchers identified the protein in the defective gene that causes Friedreich's ataxia. They called it frataxin. Now, scientists at the Center for Acadiana Genetics are able to determine who is a carrier and who will likely get the disease.
DNA is made up of 4 different types of blocks called G's, A's, C's, and T's.
Friedreich's is hereditary, and Joan Daigle's children have a very good chance of getting it
All of us have a string.
because they are in the highest risk group,
Here we have a G.
Cajuns.
What if two people with ataxia get married?
Joan has brought her children to geneticist Branya Keats for DNA testing.
So here we have an example.
But
of
first, Dr. Keats insists on explaining the Friedreich's
This
gene
could be mom. This could be dad.
and their chances of having the degenerative disease.
Is there a limit to the pattern?
If both parents are carriers,
There's a 1 in 4 chance of having a child with a recessive disorder.
the only way to know for certain is to run the DNA tests.
Get out of the way for mom.
What we have done is collect a blood sample from each one of these individuals, and we have extracted DNA from those blood samples. And the process is to take a very small piece of DNA and amplify it such that we end up with huge amounts of the DNA.
I'm just going to set them here into the thermocycler. Okay. And
It takes 12 hours to amplify the DNA.
insert cycle.
Then, Dr. Keats makes the phone call that might change the lives of Joan Daigle's children.
Hello, this is Dr. Keats. I'd like to set up an appointment to talk with you.
5 days from now, they'll know the final results of the DNA tests. At today's weigh-in, Boleyn Wright is overjoyed.
3.8 for the week. 10.6 overall. Very good.
After 10 weeks in Committed to Kids, Boleyn has a list of accomplishments.
I went down 2 shirt sizes and 1 skirt size. And at my aunt's house, they ordered like 3 pizzas and I didn't have any pizza.
Boleyn now has 2 goals. One involves numbers,
I am 212. My goal is 150 pounds.
That was hard, wasn't it?
the other doesn't.
I really do think I'm going to stick with this program for like the rest of my life.
There you go.
And it's because of the mandatory parental participation that both Boleyn and her mother are benefiting from the program.
We only got 10 pounds. That's the lightest that they'll go. I've lost, I think we're going on 12 pounds so far in 2 weeks. So we're running neck and neck.
This is my all-star shirt from last year.
Macy Miller lost 27 pounds in 9 months by regular attendance at Committed to Kids.
That's how much it actually went down.
But that wasn't the biggest change. A year ago, Macy refused to try on new clothes.
These are my school shorts from last year. They were an adult large. And these are my baseball shorts from this year, which is an adult small.
She has a new wardrobe and a new attitude.
Some of the other kids asked me how I did it. And I tell them I'm on a diet, and they said, oh, you look really good.
And Macy's parents, who went to every weekly meeting, can also see the results of adopting a healthier lifestyle.
I've lost about 8 pounds since we started the Committed to Kids program with Macy.
I've lost probably about 10 pounds since Macy started the program and 2 inches from my waist since Macy started the program.
By losing weight, kids and parents in the program reduce their risk for life-threatening health problems like diabetes, heart attack, and hypertension. Problems that are prevalent throughout the region. But with the help of modern medicine, 4 Louisiana families are defying the burden of heredity, challenging the scientific odds that put them at risk because of genetics. And for each of them, it could make the difference between life and death in the Big Easy.